Nath, mate, thanks so much for jumping on this call to go through your progress. You went from under 10K when we started working together, and you just cracked 30K a month, which is amazing and so great to obviously see your progress with big plans ahead. But
Yep.
as we are just sort of speaking about, leveraging big decisions, big CEO type decisions to move the needle to scale to that next level, that 50 to 100K a month, which is obviously our goals in the next 3, 6, 12 months. So, man, before we get into the weeds of, I guess, of what has contributed to your growth up to this point, I'd love to just have a bit of a intro to you and the business and where things are at before, we met just a few months ago.
Yeah, well, a few months ago, we were feeling around a bit online, and we were making all the mistakes as people do. I was cherry picking stuff from on site, from online, and listening to some people, going to some seminars and stuff, and I was just flicking through YouTube, and you came up, and I heard you talking about how I heard some interviews, and it was those interviews that struck some interest. Um, and obviously, when you're, like you've got this dream to, build a good online business and a brand and all these things, but there's, there's a roadmap to get there. And, mentorship is success without the waiting time.
Mm.
And being in business and, do you want to you want to cut it shorter, or do you want to take the
Ah,
long
man.
road and learn the hard way? So for
Mm.
me, it was a no-brainer. I was like, okay, I need a coach. I looked at various coaches, and various coaches were offering all different stuff, and I wasn't really a drop shipper, so that
Mm.
wasn't for me. I'm not really a spamming. I had a brand. I knew what I wanted. I knew where I was going. And that was exciting for me. And your story about the juice and everything that really resonated with me because we're building a health brand. And I thought you were a really good fit based on your background. So, but yeah, I needed to learn a lot. And through the ecom community and through the coaching we've had one to one, I've learned a lot, and how such small little tiny adjustments and tweaks can make such a massive difference. And like, you can be like a tight ass and try to save money and do it yourself and cherry pick like I was and going around the internet and trying to find bits and pieces. But the mistakes that you can make can be really costly. And if you've got, someone who's got the experience like you will, leaning over your shoulder, and you're not a snob either. Like I've got your mobile number. I can call you.
Mm.
I can message you, and you straight away get back to me. And that to me, is more important than some high roller overseas on a video call and a big chat group that I
Mm.
can't really even talk to,
Access. Yeah.
access, and so for me, like that was my decisions for coming on board, in the ecom community.
That's awesome, man. And I mean, yeah, that you're exactly right what you mentioned before. You buy time. And
Yeah.
and I am so guilty of this. When we started our business with my brother, in 2013, it was like 5 years before we got help or I got help. And
Mm.
I'm looking back like, why did I wait so long? That literally cost us probably millions of dollars, to,
Yeah.
to wait that long for maybe ego, maybe think we could figure it out on our own, maybe we
Yeah.
thought we'd just eventually get there.
I mean,
We
I
had
wish
that.
I had to meet
Yeah.
you on the day one. I wish I
Yeah.
you. I actually wish I had the contact on day one, but I
Yeah.
didn't. And I,
Yeah.
I had to go the hard way. I had to go to the farmers markets. I had to wear out my shoe leather and my shoes. I had to,
Yeah.
I had to go around driving around everywhere in my car, doing things, the
Yeah.
worst way of doing things.
Look,
And
as I was saying, man, they're good memories, but look, it definitely increases the motivation and drive and desire to solve these problems, right? Because when we start out, that's kind of tricky because
yeah,
it's all kind of blue sky, right? So
yeah.
there was a need that sounded like good timing, obviously for you, and being able to come in and obviously provide that support. When it comes down to I guess, the nuances or into the weeds of where you were looking for support, what were those changes that we made? I know we looked at Facebook ads and made some adjustments there. What were the other sort of things that we helped you focus on just from that 10,000 foot view and just kind of point you in the right?
The big change for me was I remember, talking to my team and just being pulling my hair out because I'm spending money and I was just spending like our wheels are spinning and I'm like going like we're spending all this money on ads, but we get nothing back in return.
Mm,
How are these guys spending all this money? And I'm like, am I not spending enough money? Like, and we were finding like this negative feedback loop on all of our on our stock and stuff. Like we'd spend a bit of money on ads, and then we wouldn't have any money to buy stock, and then it was just constant like it was a headache for us, and it was stressful, and we just couldn't break that barrier. It was like there was like this forced barrier, and then
mm,
you jumped online and you said, okay, you're sending people for visits and not buys, and it was like that was so simple, but we had not understood that.
mm,
So
mm.
it was that little tiny thing that we'd missed.
It was. I remember
And
that.
I
Yeah.
remember years ago, I had some tennis lessons, and this is back when I was a kid. And I remember I was swinging the tennis ball, and I remember I went and got some coaches off this top level, ex-champion coach, and he said, just hold the rack a little bit different, and bang, and the serve would make huge difference. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, just by doing something a little bit differently, a little slight change,
Yeah.
bang, and
Yeah.
then.
You're 100%
And
correct.
that's the pain that you had to go through to learn that in order to be able to pass that knowledge on to us. And that's what you're not when you're cherry picking,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
what you that's what you're going to miss on. It's those little tiny little things
Yeah.
that are making the big changes. And now knowing those little things, it makes all the difference. Like you get it, I can get into my business now and I can look at things and go, okay, that's in the wrong spot. That's got to go over there. Let's test that for a little bit, see what the market says. Okay, look at the data, and you just know now. Whereas before it was like, you're in the dark, man.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah, 100%. And
yeah.
this is the thing that there's so many elements to be, and you've had successful businesses before, which is amazing. And that's why I knew, when I did meet you, you just had the right attitude. You were taking the responsibility. You're like, I can figure this out, but I want to get that extra help to do it way faster and get that continued
Mm.
support. And obviously, we're having conversations now about that scale and breakage. And it's like, okay, we've got to fix these things as quickly as possible. For you, it's capacity, which is again
Yeah,
problems to have, but that's almost like normal. And it's like, okay, I know that's my bottleneck right now. So I have to go and
yeah,
solve that. I can't ignore that. But what you were saying before in terms of business optics, the most important things, right? As you say, you've got your finger on the pulse with basically everything. You don't have to be expert at everything, but you have to know
no,
which box each thing actually fits in and where there's challenges and where your team might be having challenges, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's
yeah.
been awesome to see your growth, man. And as I say, we're dealing with new and bigger challenges now to get to that 50 to 60 to 100, as I say, in the next
There's it.
12 months.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting stuff. So it's,
And one of the things I thought would go away, I thought, oh, when I, hit this barrier of income, it'll solve so many problems. There's a whole new set of problems and they never go away. They're always there. There's always another bottleneck you've got to fix that you got to solve.
yeah,
And you think, oh, if I can just get this level of income and I'm going to be, but I tell you what, there's another level of problems to solve. And as an entrepreneur, it's about solving problems. And the quicker you can solve those problems, the quicker you can solve those bottlenecks, the faster you can scale up the ladder,
yeah,
and that's why it's so important to have a coach. And that's why I even say today, even I said, Will, I said, please, Will, if I have to do more consulting,
yeah.
let's do it because
Exactly.
rest assured,
Yes.
there's always another bottleneck to
Yeah.
solve
Yeah.
and
And again,
and
even that we spoke about, you at the mastermind briefly, which was amazing. But we spoke about during that mastermind about just knowing what you're in for, meaning the expectations. Like as you said, if you think that all my problems are going to be solved by scaling or making more money, that's actually not right. The problems get bigger, more risky, right? They get scarier. But as we
yeah,
get more experience, and this is an expectation setting, as we get more experience and we have some months and years under our belt with our business progression, we get more objective, we get more data driven, we get less stressed about things because we are able to use data, but also like that's a level of intuition experience as well. And so that's what
yeah.
we're evolving into that. So the conversation we just had before, you were always on the right track, and I was just reaffirming, like, yep, I agree. Yep, I think that's exactly right. So
And
that in itself is value to you because it's like, cool, I don't have to second guess it now. You know what I mean?
that's
It's just
right.
like, go and do it. So
And we were just having that reaffirming and knowing that you've been here and you've done it before,
Mm,
and you're a straight shooter. You've been here, you've done it before, you've walked the talk. You're
mm,
not selling the course, you're not selling some spammy drop shipping thing and trying to make a quick buck. And like I know that you've done this, you've been on this journey, and having that, I can then bounce that idea off you as opposed to bouncing that idea off a friend or a family at a barbecue who hasn't been on this journey. He really has no idea,
mm,
or even trying to cherry pick it off the internet somewhere. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
having that, that coach, I know, just it makes all the difference. I reckon anyone that's thinking about doing it, just do it. It's the best decision you'll ever make. And I mean, for me, I wish I'd only found out about Will earlier. He's been a real blessing to me, and he's been very patient, and very helpful and understanding too. Like every business is different, and every business is going to have its own set of challenges,
Yeah.
and the market's changing a lot. And guys like Will, and the coaches, they're constantly reviewing different businesses, so they know what's going on in the marketplace, and because it's changing so quickly.
Mm,
The rules of business yesterday aren't the rules today. They're just changing so fast. And if we're not on the ball, we've not got that community to bounce the ideas off and the mentor. That's where we can make very, very bad decisions by just applying an old way of business to the new way, and it's not going to work anymore. So these things are constantly shifting and changing, and you need to be on the ball. Yeah.
absolutely, man. No, I appreciate you sharing that because that's again like some wisdom that you've been learning, right? And seeking out and
Yeah.
continually opening yourself up to. And law of attraction says if you become aware of these things, you're going to attract more of that. And so you realize how much support we all need growing businesses. Like that
Yeah.
was a huge realization for me when I first invested in myself through a mentor was like, I can't do this on my. I mean, the person who I look up to the most who helped us start Karmic, our business, was Tim Ferriss, right? 4 hour work week, 4 hour body, 4 hour chef. And he said basically to reach the highest heights, you need to stand on the shoulders of giants, meaning people who have done
Yeah.
that before, other successful people. Literally, you can't do it on your own. And so
Yeah.
his humble nature was like something that I just admired so much. And I was like, if he's saying that, like, who am I to say otherwise? So, yeah, man, thanks so much for obviously sharing that. And it's been so great seeing your success. And I know there's so much more to go, and I'm excited to see it happen, man. So, thank you for sharing
And
your.
and also too, when you've got a coach, you can have mentors. And I've had lots of business mentors over my time in business, and I've got lots of guys I can call. They're huge companies. I'm talking massive, and I can call them up and they'll run ideas by them. But when someone's got an invested interest, and they'll sit down with you and they'll look at the data, that makes the difference.
Mm, mm,
Someone who's been on the journey that you are on,
mm.
that makes a difference.
Yeah,
And this is the reason why I went
absolutely.
with you, Bob. Yeah.
Appreciate it, buddy. Look,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, man. That's no,
Thank
that's
you.
gonna be super valuable for people's confidence and obviously insights and just to hear where you've come from and where you've got to. Like that's confidence building
Yeah.
that people are doing this every day and can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's there's help out there. So man, thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. And again, can't wait to see you, reach that next level. So I appreciate it.
No worries. Thank
Thanks,
you.
buddy.